Where the forest is oldest, the wind speaks softly to the stones. The peasants say it is the breath of the fairies, still dancing where no one dares to watch. These are the ancient tales from Alsace in France, handed down through generations, and later recorded by a historian named Auguste Stoeber in his collection of Alsatian legends from 1842, who believed that the stories still live in the quiet places of the Vosges Mountains. So let's follow the narrow tracks beneath the canopy toward the Jardin des Fées, the Garden of the Fairies, high above the village of Lutzelhouse. The path leads up to the Grande Côte, a high sandstone ridge overlooking the valley of the little river Bruche. From here, the forest opens toward the sky. And across the slope lie stones that seem older than memory. This plateau is known as the Jardin des Fées, the Garden of the Fairies. It forms a faint circular enclosure, the remains of a cromlech, a prehistoric stone circle once used for ceremony and alignment. The name cromlech comes from an ancient Celtic tongue, crom for curve, lech for stone. Such circles were built to link earth and sky, to mark the sun, the moon, the seasons. Archaeologists and historians now suggest this site is at least 3,000 years old, and many regard it as one of the oldest Celtic sanctuaries in Alsace. Around the ridge, countless sandstone blocks lie scattered, remnants of construction or unused stones, witnesses to ancient hands. According to legend, the fairies who guarded this mountain once tried to build a bridge across the valley. The scattered sandstone blocks all around these hills are said to be the remains of their unfinished work. Stones dropped when their magic failed at dawn. Today, the circle is silent, but the feeling remains that this place was sacred long before history began. Here, the earth still carries the breath of its makers, and the wind still remembers their songs. The path turns downward again, winding through the woods in the scent of pine and moss. Behind us, the ridge grows quiet, the circle of the fairies fading into the forest, like a thought you try to hold but cannot keep. There's a touch of sadness in leaving such a place, where time feels older, slower, almost human. Yet the silence of one sanctuary often leads to another. Beyond the valley, other traces wait, stones with names whispered through centuries, where the same wind that moved through this forest still carries the memory of ancient hands. Ahead lies another hill, another gathering of stone and legend, the Roche des Fées, the Rock of the Fairies, and the ruins of an old hermitage hidden among the trees. The path grows narrow, and old boundary stones appear along the way. Small sandstone blocks carved with fading marks. Once they divided lands and forests. Now they guide the paths to the sacred sites, the new menhirs of our time. Hidden beside a narrow stream lies the Roche des Fées, the Rock of the Fairies, a massive block of sandstone, almost 2 meters high, resting among roots and moss. Locals say it once served as a Celtic altar, a place of offerings to the spirits of the forest and the flowing water. But how did this lonely giant come to rest here? And who shaped it so precisely, with its smooth plains and hollow marks carved into the stone? Some see the traces of tools, others the slow work of glaciers, wind, and time. Either way, the place feels deliberate. As if the boulders were arranged here to listen, to hold the silence of the forest through the millennia. A little further, the path leads toward a quiet clearing in the woods, past what looks like the remnants of an ancient earthwork. The place was once known as the Hermitage. In old route descriptions, one passes Reste de la Chapelle, Pierre tombale d'une ermite, the remains of a chapel and the gravestone of a hermit. Only scattered blocks remain now. Fragments of walls, a flat stone slab that might have been his tomb, moss-covered and half reclaimed by the forest. Yet in this solitude, one senses continuity, where the hermit prayed, where old gods watched. The same breeze that once moved through the stones at the Roche des Fées echoes softly here in the ruins of faith and memory. The path winds back through the forest. In the Vosges, History and myth walk side by side. The Celts, the fairies, and the silent rocks, all part of the same long breath of the earth. What the ancients once called sacred still lingers here in the quiet patience of the hills. Perhaps here lies the true enchantment of these places, not in the stories that have been passed down to us through generations, but in the quiet way the land remembers, in the ever-same wind that tells of them as it moves across the stones.